Brought to you by...
If you're enjoying the content here, please consider supporting us on Patreon or Tippy. Hello friends, welcome back to Embrace the Film, where we delve into the convoluted mess that drove the franchise to a grinding halt and forced the studio to retool everything. I'm talking, of course, about Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. This installment marks the return of the seemingly indestructible masked murderer Michael Myers, who is now targeting Tommy Doyle, a young man tied into the legacy of the killer and his connections with the Strode family. As the supernatural elements of Michael's macabre abilities are explored, his longtime adversary, Dr. Sam Loomis, is also back in yet another attempt to stop the psychopath's brutal rampages. That is probably the most vague description of this film's plot that I have ever heard. Yet somehow it fits, given that there are two separate versions of this film out there, both weaving a significantly different narrative from the same basic fibers. You have the theatrical cut, which sees Michael on a brutal and violent rampage, while being manipulated by a vicious cult, and ultimately being defeated by a lead pipe. And you have the producer's cut, which paints a twisted portrait of a cult's macabre game, and turns Loomis into Michael's new handler, sees Michael defeated by a circle of rocks on the floor, and somehow finds the time to make Michael the incestuous father of Jamie Lloyd's baby. It's a nightmare that we can fully unpack at a later date. In this film, we get the return of the young boy from the first film, played here by a younger Paul Rudd, who unfortunately delivers a terrible performance, though I feel that this is more due to direction than talent. We also get a recasting of Jamie Lloyd. I'm not sure why the decision was made not to bring Danielle Harris back, or to make her an integral part of the story. The main focus of this film was to bring an explanation to Michael's madness, as well as to wrap up all the loose ends left open by the last film. A decision that twisted this film into a complete mess. Even with two separate cuts of the film, crafted from the original footage and an abundance of reshoots, neither one makes any sense. From what I have gathered, much of this was due to massive interference by the studio and producers, which ultimately led to the director's vision being heavily compromised. Michael is brought to a far more brutal level, blowing up heads and slaughtering an entire operating room of people. The visual look of the film was very different from the previous installments in the franchise, implementing more stark lighting techniques and a bit more dynamic camera work. They chose to make Michael more of a big, burly football player type for this one, as opposed to his normal, more tall and average framing. It's likely that this was done in an attempt to make him even more imposing, taking that whole bigger and badder approach, which for some reason studio executives seem to think equals scarier. They make no attempt to explain this transformation between the two films in any way. It just happens. Michael's mask is a little better designed this time, taking on a darker tone in its paint job and embedding its facial shadows into the latex. This film brings to an end what is often referred to as the Thorn trilogy, that began back with Halloween 4. It brings closure to the Cult of the Thorn storyline, as well as the nightmare of Jamie's character, while simultaneously leaving the series at rock bottom, with absolutely nowhere to go that made any sense to anyone. Which is highly unfortunate, given that this was Donald Pleasant's final on-screen performance. For an actor so beloved and so iconic, it's heartbreaking to see that his final performance in the industry isn't such a disappointing film. Keeping this one short and sweet, I'm giving Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, a D. As always, friends, I'm curious to hear what you think about this film. In my opinion, this was one of the lowest points in the franchise. However, I would still rather watch this than the backyard rape that is Resurrection, which unfortunately is coming up all too quick. If you enjoyed today's video, please feel free to let me know. It's just a quick scroll down there to that comment section below. If you're enjoying the channel more than words can describe, shoot me a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe. If you would like to show your support even more, come find ETF on Patreon or Tippy, where every pledge and every tip bring you rewards galore, not to mention allowing me to bring you more films to explore. But all jokes and rhymes aside, if you have any films that you would like me to check out, or that you might like to see reviewed on this channel, feel free to reach out to me here down in the comments, or over on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And I will catch you all next time. Thanks for watching.